my channel. I have a special guest. It's Deepica.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Welcome to my home.
Thank you. I know, you guys. I'm not in my living room. I'm in Deepica's front yard.
You are in our front
so
yard.
cute here.
Isn't it cute?
I love it. I love it.
I
So
have
you guys, today I'm talking to Deepica about being South Indian. And you guys know, since my husband is South Indian, that means that we have a South Indian baby. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about growing up South Indian in America.
Oh my God, I have so many thoughts on it. And I grew up in
Things I
Texas.
need to know. Oh wow.
Texas, South Indian. So
Yeah.
I feel like I went through a whole layer that your son won't have to go through. I think the most interesting part about growing up South Indian that I don't know if he'll experience, because I think that hopefully the world is changing because of hopefully what's happening right now.
I know.
He probably also relates so many things to you with the half thing.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
there's a
he's
part
gonna
of what
be
he's
a
going to go
mixed
through
kid.
with me, but also the mixed kid thing. And like, so there's like levels that you can teach. But I would say specifically South Asian, to me, I used to be so embarrassed of my mom.
Really?
And I hate saying that out loud now because
Yeah.
she's my best friend and I put her on my channel every 5 seconds because she's the best thing ever.
Yep.
But I used to be so embarrassed to bring her home because she would be wearing a nightie, which is like, remember I was telling
Yeah.
you, like a muumuu? Well, and she'd always be in that, and it's so embarrassing, and our house would always smell like curry. But I would say, like, if I could go back and tell my younger self, it's like own that part of it rather than being embarrassed about it. But kids are mean. Bullies
Kids,
are real.
That's actually the biggest part about it.
Really, really mean. And I think, like, look, like you're lucky that California is going to be a very different growing up experience. Did you ever feel like you identified with either because you're half of each?
Neither. So I think this is what's going to happen with him because we live closer to my husband's family. So they're here in California, and like his brother, his parents, all of that. My parents are in New Mexico. I think he's going to grow up with more of an Indian upbringing
Yeah.
as far as like the family goes and stuff. I grew up with like a predominantly Latino like background, I guess. We lived closer to my dad's family. He's Mexican. And so that kind of stuff was kind of prevalent in my life, and so I felt more like a Latino.
What about religion? Can we go there? Like, I'm curious what your son would...
So I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
Arun grew up Hindu.
Hindu.
But at the same time, I think we're both very like, we're not very strong about
Yeah.
religion. I actually think having a little bit of religion, it's cultural, right? Like
Yeah.
you get something from it.
Yes.
So I don't think there's a problem with him going to like temple and like, you know, doing things like that. We didn't do the whole like shave his head
You
thing.
did it?
No,
Oh
just-
my God, that
but
hair.
it's
How could
because-
you?
Exactly. It's he had this hair when he was born, and I was just like, oh,
Obsessed.
so cute.
I'm obsessed too.
So cute. His parents were mad about that. They didn't let that go for a while.
So I grew up Hindu, and I think the most interesting part about that was that, like, you know, my parents took me to temple. I went to Chinmay Mission,
Yeah.
which was like a Sunday school. And the best part about it was honestly meeting other Indian kids.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
see, this is stuff I need to know.
That to me was really cool because I had all white friends at school, and so it was like that one time a week that I got to go and like kind of embrace my culture. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I understand everything, but knowing a baseline of it is just nice. It feels good
I
to know
think
about your
so,
culture.
yeah.
I feel like that kind of identity and being able to tap into that part of your life is like really important. I felt from a personality perspective I was, because I had all
Growing
white
up-
friends.
Yeah, right.
So I almost felt like I had 2 different lives.
That makes sense.
Like I literally had a life that I lived at school, and then I wouldn't tell my school friends. I would go to like Garba or like the cool fun celebrations that I
Right.
love about being Indian now. I used to lie to my parents about going to things that were like with my white friends, and I used to lie to my friends about going to Indian events.
Right.
I would just be like, oh, my parents are making me like stay at home, blah, blah, blah. I was so embarrassed of being Indian.
Because you were different.
I was different, and I wanted to be a cool kid, and the cool kids were white, and so I dyed my hair blonde. I got blue contacts.
Really?
I got blue contacts. Like,
You were one of those Indian girls that got
I
the
was
blue contacts.
that Indian girl. I was one of those Indian girls. It's different now because if I get contacts, it's more of like a fashion fun thing for like an outfit or a look. Dye my hair. It's not because I'm not wanting to embrace my culture, which is what it was as a kid. Actually, now I'm obsessed with keeping my black hair because it's kind of like me feeling like I
Yeah.
finally feel so happy about my skin. The other thing growing up Indian, I was not allowed to go into the sun.
Oh, because they want you to be fair and lovely.
Fair and lovely, exactly. Oh my God, you're so Indian. I love it. I was not allowed to go in. I remember one day I had a white friend and we like went to the pool and she was like tanning. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna tan. I came home, my mom cried.
Oh.
You know, and so I think the cool part about now when your son grows up, you're obviously you're a modern mom, period. So I don't know. I think for me, my biggest thing would be like, let your son be him and like, but let him be him, but also make sure he gets to see pieces of his culture, because
I
like
agree.
it shapes you.
I agree.
When I fight with my mom, it's always about cultural differences and generational differences.
Yeah.
And like, I'm literally a mini her in the next generation, but the way we fight is like, she's like, you can't speak to me that way. And I'm like, I'm actually speaking to you very respectfully, but her definition of respect is
It's
different.
to say yes.
Yeah. Their definition of the American dream versus my definition of American dream are very different.
Yep.
Please don't make your son be a doctor. Like, that's how, you know, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Arun
You
grew
know
up
what's
too.
interesting about Arun's parents is that that's my husband's name. His parents are very, like, they actually think the things I do are cool, like, interesting. You know,
Lucky.
like, I mean,
Lucky.
they're like, that's fascinating. You know, when I first moved out here, I was still working in magazines. So then I would like go interview celebrities, or like do that kind of stuff, and they'd be like, fascinating, tell us more, this is interesting. You guys are marrying because you're in love? Tell us more about this. Like,
What's that?
Yeah, his
Weird.
mom was like just fascinated by this.
I'm glad that the next generation doesn't have to go through what we kind of had to go through, and
Yeah.
you know, different from what our parents had to go through, which
Yeah.
was also tough in its own way.
What are the other things I might encounter that I should be ready for?
And it's interesting because he's a boy, right? So I didn't grow up as an Indian boy. Like, I wonder how different that is.
Education definitely huge. Like his mom, Arun's mom, is already like, I've already got his fund set up.
Yep.
Like before he was
100%.
born.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I'm not even dating, married, or anything, but my dad's grandkids, they're set.
Yeah.
They don't go on vacations. They don't go out to eat because they're busy funding their not unborn children.
Right. I know.
Grandchildren.
It's pretty amazing.
It honestly is, right? Like,
I think it's amazing.
It makes you think a different way about anything you spend money on. Like, I rarely spoil myself because of my parents, you know? Like, and if I do, it's very timeless pieces. It's just a very different
It
mindset.
really is. Yeah, Arun said that he thought he was like one of the poorest kids growing up.
Yeah.
Because he had like the generic shoes, or like
Yeah.
he said that he joined softball or like a little league, and that his parents got him a plastic glove instead of a leather one.
That's just them being like, the savings is everything.
Yeah,
but
like,
then
why
they'll
do you
go
need the leather one?
in on the weddings.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
So I like briefly hit on this earlier, but make sure that you celebrate holidays with your son. Do Diwali. Like, that is such an important big day for us. Holi. Like,
Right.
make sure that he gets to celebrate those moments growing up, because that is really going to help him like understand who he is as a person and that part of his culture. I think and the things that you celebrated, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like your own version of that. I just think that's I have like real memories of that as a kid.
Yeah, but you know the big one that stands out is going to like that Sunday, or like you said Sunday school, right?
Is it literally? I would say yes. Going to
Like hanging out with the other Indian kids. and stuff
make
like that.
sure he grows up in an environment with other Indian kids, and I'm actually interested to see how that happens being a mixed Indian kid.
Right.
I bet he's going to grow up with a lot of other mixed Indian kids, which is also really awesome.
That's
right?
actually true. That's
I
actually
love
very
that.
True.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that makes me so happy actually, because
Yeah.
I feel like the world is evolving, and that
Yep.
like I hope to contribute to that one day.
You will.
But I mean, like, I really think that like growing up with my cousins around, I feel very grateful for that. Like being able to have, that's who I hung out with on Friday nights.
Yeah.
And that was awesome to me. Like we did Indian dances. Like that was like fun for like
Aw.
weddings and stuff like that. So make sure his culture is a big part of his life. Celebrate the holidays. Keep him around other Indian people so they can actually like celebrate it together and realize it's like cool.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're too separated from that, you don't realize how awesome it is.
Right.
Go to India.
Yes.
I have vague memories, but I have memories, and you see the roots, man. You're like, wow, my grandparents did this. Wow, my parents did this. My dad was picking cornfields for like 10 rupees, like was a treat. Like, it really grounds you and humbles you to
Right.
see where they are today. And I think that's important, because no matter what, like, you worked really hard to provide your son a really amazing life. So like, I
Right.
think it's important for him to see that like your parents came from a certain thing, Arun's parents came from a certain thing. That's really important, I think. And let them do whatever the heck they want professionally, because
Okay.
good God, if I hear the term doctor, like, my dream in the world is that this next generation, it's the norm to say you're not a doctor.
Yeah.
Because, and there's nothing wrong if they want to be, but if they want to be. I have too many cousins who were forced into it and said if they did it over again, they just wouldn't. And that's sad, right? Because we're literally living our dream careers, and like, it takes more people doing that for other people to feel like they can do it.
I agree with you.
So,
I agree.
That's my
Deepica, thank you.
thanks for coming over. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me over,
So
you
fun.
guys. You have to check out Deepica. She has her YouTube channel.
Yay.
I mean, she's on Instagram. She got Deepica
Oh yeah, that was
on
cool.
Instagram. That's
That was cool.
pretty amazing.
That was That's pretty
so
cool.
she's easy to find there. She also has Live Tinted. You want to tell them what that is?
Yeah, okay, so it's a community that I just launched 3 months ago, and the whole concept of it is to like bring together, the whole idea is for all the shades in between. So really making sure that we're talking about really important beauty conversations that I don't think are really happening right now, taking it beyond skin deep, and really like, to be honest, the best way I can say it is, what I'm recognizing is there's this anthropology behind beauty that we don't really think about until we have this conversation, and recognize that just because you're not Indian doesn't mean we don't have the same beauty concerns and feelings. So we treat every Instagram post almost as a blog post, and we get all this comments and people talking about what it was like growing up darker skin, what it was like growing up with a bump on your nose and things like that. So it's just a digital community to have that open conversation and make it so everyone feels like the whole spectrum of beauty is being talked about for once, right? It's like about time.
I love that.
About time, yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Deepica, and
Yes.
we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, she's gonna go hang out with her son. I'm sad. I'm gonna go drink rosé somewhere.
Oh, that's
Bye, guys.